Hello, this is Mr. Price, and this is the video for the Year 7 Unit 16 on multiplying and dividing fractions. Now let's go straight into it. So the first question goes with 4 times 1/8. Okay, so I'm going to show this fairly purely, in that there are various other ways you can do this, but this way will stand you the best for later on. So this means 4 times the top number, so I'm going to put this as 4 times 1 at the top and then divide by 8 at the bottom. And I can do this in any order. Okay, well I already know 4 times 1 is itself, so I'm just going to keep that as 4 over 8. And I'll simplify this where I can, so I can divide top and bottom by 4. So divide that by 4 and divide that by 4, as they both share common factors of 4. So 4 divided by 4 gives me 1. And 8 divided by 4 gives me 2. So 4 times 1/8 is a half. Okay, question 2 was a fifth times 25. So again, it's going to be 1 times 25. I won't write it on the top this time. So that's going to be 25 at the top, because 1 times 25 is 25. And then 5 at the bottom. And then I notice again, I've got common factors top and bottom of 5. So divide that by 5, and I'm going to get 1. Divide that by 5 and I get 5, and then 5 over 1 is just 5. Next question, a fifth divided by 8. Now, when dividing whole numbers and fractions together, we look at the right side and do the reciprocal of it, and we multiply it. So that's going to be a fifth multiplied by the reciprocal, so the number upside down. Now because 8 is also 8 over 1, that means upside down it will look like 1 over 8. Okay, and then we multiply top numbers, so 1 times 1 is 1, and the bottom numbers 5 times 8, so we get 1 over 40. Okay, next question is 4/7. No, it's not so, it's 3/8 times 40. Okay, so here multiply the top numbers, so 3 times 40 all over 8. And now again, I can do these in any order I like. So I'm going to first look for some common factors top and bottom. Well, I know 8 and 40 share a common factor of 8. So I'm going to divide this by 8 to get 1. And I'll divide this by 8 to get 5. And now I've got 3 times 5 divided by 1. Well, 3 times 5 is 15. And then 15 divided by 1 just gives me 15. Okay, let's look at the next one. 4/7 divided by 5. So again, keep the first number the same, and we're going to multiply by the reciprocal. So if you want, you can do 5 divided by 5 is the same as 5 over 1. So the upside down is a fifth. And then multiply the top numbers, so 4 times 1 on the top, and 7 times 5 at the bottom. So then we get 4 on the top, and 35 at the bottom. The denominator, I should say. Okay, next question. So we've got 1 1/3 times by 6. Okay, so here the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this into a top-heavy fraction. Okay, or an improper fraction. So to do this, I know that each of these wholes are split into 3. So if there's one whole splits into 3, there will be 3 parts plus the extra part here. So that's going to be 4 over 3. Times 6. Okay, so once again, 4 times 6 on the top. And notice I'm not actually doing this calculation yet. I'm going to look for common factors first. So again, I can spot common factors. Divide that by 3, I get 1. Divide that by 3, I get 2. And I've got 4 times 2 divided by 1. So that's going to give me 8. And the final question, 15 times 2 and 2/5. So again, that's going to become 15 times, So each 2 is split into 5 pieces, so that's going to be 10 pieces, plus the 2 pieces here, so that's going to be 12 over 5. And now 15 times 12 all over 5. So again, I can spot common factors here. Divide that by 5, I get 1. Divide that by 5, I get 3. And then 3 times 12, 36. Excuse me. And that's section 1 finished. Okay, so for section 2, I've got fill in the gaps. So it was 7/9 times 6/7. So my gap here is 7 times 6 on the top and 9 times 7 in the bottom. I can spot common factors here. Those both go into 7, so divide that by 7, 1. Divide that by 7, 1. And well done if you spotted that this also has common factors of 3. So divide that by 3, 2. Divide that by 3, 3. So I get 1 times 2 on the top, 2, and 3 times 1 on the bottom, 2/3. Okay, next question is 2 over 7 times blank equals 2 times blank on the top and 7 times blank on the denominator equals 3/14. Okay, so there's a load of ways we can do this. Now personally, I'm going to look at it like this. So 7 times something will give me 14, but I'm not going to put my instant number of 2 here. I'm going to actually put it here. So this number here has been cancelled to make it 2. Okay. And then 2 times something will give me 3. Now, I can spot here that because my cancelled out number here has turned into a 2, and I'd really like this to cancel down to a 1, because then this bit's easy. So actually, if I make this a 4 that's been cancelled to a 2, that means that 2 would cancel to a 1. So now I'm left with 1 times something to give me 3. Well, that must be a 3 here. So let's have a look at my original numbers. It was times 3 and times 4. So that means I must have multiplied by 3/4. And hopefully you can spot how that's worked. That wasn't an easy one. There's lots of ways you can do that, but that's the way that I've immediately thought of. Possibly if you used algebra, that would also work too. Okay, let's look at the last couple of questions. So, 2/5 divided by 3/4. Okay, so here I'm going to now multiply by the reciprocal, so 4/3. Do you see that's just turned upside down? Okay, so now the same technique again. So numbers multiplied on the numerator and the denominator. Any common factors? No, because they are all prime with the exception of 4. So 2 times 4 is 8, and 5 times 3 is 15. And the final one, 2/5 divided by 4/3. So again, I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal. So that's 2 times 3 on the numerator, 5 times 4 on the denominator. Spot common factors here, divide by 2. Now there's no more common factors, so I've got 1 times 3 on the numerator, 5 times 2 on the denominator, 3/10. And final 2 questions is calculate the area of this rectangle. So that's 8/15 meters, and that's 3/8 meters. So I know to calculate the area of a rectangle, it's the length times the width. So that's 8/15 times 3/8. So that's going to be 8 times 3 on the numerator and 15 times 8 on the denominator. Spotted common factors here. So both those cancel to be 1 because I've divided by 8. And I've got common factors here, divide by 3. So that's 1 and 5. So I get 1 times 1, 1. And 5 times 1, 5. So it's 1/5 of a meter squared. Remember, we're finding an area. Okay. And final question, I've got a triangle here of 5 1/4 meters, 1 1/2 meters, and 5 12/25 meters. Now this one's not easy. Okay, so first I'm going to remember that to find the area of a triangle, it's the base times the perpendicular height divided by 2. Okay, so I'm looking for the two sides that are right angles to each other. So that's this one here and this one here, because these are at right angles to each other. So first I'm going to work out the length times the width. So that's 1 1/2 times 5 1/4. Okay, so let's turn these into improper fractions. So each whole splits into 2, so that's going to be 2 pieces, plus the 1, so that's going to be 3/2. And each whole splits into 4 pieces, so that's going to be 5 lots of 4 is 20, plus the 1, 21/4. Multiply the numerators, 3 times 21, and the denominators. And we're going to look for common factors, which they are not. So, here you need to do 3 times 21. If you need to, you can do a little quick column multiplication. So 3 times 1 is 3, 3 times 2 is 6. So that's going to give me 61 on the top. And then I'm going to multiply that by 2 times 4, so that's going to be 8. Okay, so I've got 61/8. Now I've got to remember that I need to divide this by 2. So 61/8 divided by 2. Now, again, just like when you multiply a fraction, just like when you divide a fraction, you multiply by the reciprocal, you can do that the other way around as well. So I can actually now, again, multiply by the reciprocal. So that's going to be 61/8 multiplied by 2 upside down, so it's going to be 1/2. Okay, so now I'm going to get 61 over, running out of space here. So 61 times 1 is 61, and then 8 times 2, 16. So it's going to be 61/16 meters squared. And that is the video finished on Unit 16 for multiplying and dividing fractions. Thank you.